السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. الحمد لله على نعمه وعلى عطائه، نستغفره ونتوب إليه ونتوكل عليه، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله، قد أدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وأزال الله به الغمة. So, brothers and sisters, I start by reminding you and myself, أوصيني وإياكم بتقوى الله, to have the piety of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our hearts and to work on our hearts and the connection with Allah, because that's what counts, and the good deeds that happen with that. As we live in this life, we have all goals, achievement. We have things we want to do. We have our hopes and fears. We have directions. We have a dream. And I hope our dreams are related to Allah and Al-Akhirah, and to make our dreams in dunya consistent with Al-Amal Al-Salih according to Sunnah Al-Kareemah. As we go with those actions and hopes and dreams, and we have achievements and CVs and resumes that we count and things we're proud of, and we look at our achievement, we need to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at our CVs and resumes, does not look at our achievements, but what is in His sake, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He looks at our hearts and our sa'i. Subhanallah. And it's important as we live in this life and we think and we plan, we make choices and we make decisions and we put directions and we have goals and we work hard and we prepare and we achieve what we want to achieve. You'll find out that at the end of the day, if you look at the materialistic means and the life, it doesn't always work like you wanted it to. Actually, it does not. There has to be some things that goes out of your direction, out of your planning with the lively issues. As we do all that, we figure that we do need help. We need help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need help in every part of it. We need help thinking, our perception even, and our knowledge. Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqan warzuqna ittiba'ah. The dua of the Prophet, oh Allah, makes us see what's right, right. Give us the wisdom to realize what's right, what's appropriate action. When we move on from the perception that is the knowledge that we use to make decisions, the choices of decisions, the Prophet ﷺ helps us how to choose and to make dua al-istikhara. When we make the decisions and the steps, what to have in our hearts and what we need. Brothers and sisters, in this situation, and I'm talking about not only lively actions, not only material things, I'm also talking ibadah. Even in our ibadah, we need help. We need help for guidance to the ibadah that it's the right thing to do. We need help for choosing between which ibadah we do past the mandatory or the fara'id. We need help in all the stages we do. That help and that worry and goals, the more it's related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what He wants of us, the better we're successful, inshallah. And the more we focus, because we need that help. We need to help our brothers in Palestine. What is the best we can do? Calamity is happening. Genocide is occurring. They're being massacred, and we're helpless here. We're not. And what shall we do? And what is the best action we can do? We've just seen a video a couple of days ago that breaks the hearts of what's happening. We see it in the media, we see it in the news, we see it in the social media. What can we do and what shall we do? That help that we need for our choices and vision is the topic of my talk, especially that Ramadan is coming in a few days, and looking at our hearts and what we need of support to get us to that status is the topic of my discussion. It is tawakkul ala Allah. It is how to make tawakkul. And subhanallah, tawakkul ala Allah is an essential action of the heart. Min akbar a'mal al-qulub. And the actions of the heart are the most important in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was called by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَتَوَكَّلُوا إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. And upon Allah you should make tawakkul if you are believers. So He put it tawakkul as a condition of belief. So if you are mu'mineen, then you depend upon Allah. You rely upon Allah. So what is tawakkul and what does it mean exactly? It was said that it's shart al-iman. It was said that tawakkul simply is not only a mandatory, it is among the highest mandatory of belief, as the belief structure to occur, and for each of our actions to be appropriate. Shar'an, what does it mean? Shar'wise, it is the truth, trust, and relying of your heart upon Allah in looking for what's good by Sharia and pushing away what's bad. دفع المضار واستجلاب المصالح في أمور الدنيا والآخرة, for things that are related to our worship and our life. But what does it exactly mean, التوكل على الله? And I can take the whole time for khutbah discussing the meaning, but I will just give you one of the ulama definition of tawakkul. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the believers in Surah Al-Anfal. And it's a time that dispute happens upon or after a war about how to distribute al-ghanaim, or the war, what do you call it? The war spoils among the believers. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the believers in order. And after that, He tells them what they need to do. And then He defines the believers. إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون. And they rely upon their Lord. So the definition of tawakkul means to depend on Allah, only on Allah, to rely only on Allah, no partners. Your full trust is in Him, is on Him, and you only ask help and support from Him. And to designate and to forward, actually there's no English word, good English translation for to forward, but to allocate, designate, trust with acceptance the issues you have to Allah. So when you rely upon Him and upon Him only, and you trust it in His hand completely, and to be happy with that, in full trust, happy with leaving it to Him, and happy with the results when it happens, inshallah. And as easy as that said, it is not easy to keep remembering that in all our actions in life, as tawakkul is what gets your heart to the higher levels. So you will see it as the Prophet ﷺ and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before the Prophet gives us the directions for life. You will see it as action that is required by our hearts for everything we do. You need to bring your heart to real tawakkul ala Allah. Any decision you make, any choice, any action you're about to do, even in istikhara. What do we do in istikhara? Istikhara is basically full tawakkul. At the beginning, you're acknowledging that, oh Allah, Allahumma inni as'aluka بعلمك واستقدرك بقدرتك. I ask you with your knowledge because I don't know. And I leave the power to you. I ask you to help me because I'm helpless. You have the power and you have the knowledge. And at the end, واقدر لي الخير حيث كان ثم ارضني به. Give me what's good for me because you know it better than I, and make me pleased with it. It includes the tawakkul. This should be our status of our heart when we make the choice and when we do the action. Tawakkal ala Allah. وَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Avoid hesitation. It teaches us how to act, basically. Once you make a decision, tawakkal ala Allah, subhanallah. Give that trust, allocate it, trust it, and move on. It takes away your stress. It takes away your burden. And whatever happens, you're happy with it because you've done your part. You made tawakkul ala Allah. And if a calamity happened or a failure happened, you know whom to lean on and to seek. And you've done your part. Did you do your best? And tawakkal ala Allah. Makes your life easier, makes you more successful. And let us look at examples of when and what Allah and His Prophet ﷺ told us to do. And here are some examples. In difficulty or calamity, may Allah help our brothers and sisters in Palestine right now. Look at Sayyidina Nuh, when he was reaching out to his people, making da'wah for how many years? 950 years. And when they do not reply, look at his saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. إن كان كبر عليكم مقامي وتذكيري بآيات الله. If it's too difficult for you that I'm inviting you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reminding you with Him, فعلى الله توكلت. What's His response? What does He seek? They're not listening to me. What am I going to do? What do you do when you are in a difficulty? فعلى الله توكلت. Go seek Allah. Rely upon Him. Take your trust on Him. Take your complaint to Him. Ask Him the guidance of what else you can do and what's the next step. Not only that it makes you stronger, it makes you successful. And many ayahs about jihad and about fighting that you trust and tawakkul should be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What about choice for peace? وَإِن جَنَحُوا لِلسِّلْمِ فَاجْنَحْ لَهَا وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Allah is teaching His Prophet ﷺ that if they lean towards peace, go for peace and make tawakkul ala Allah. Now, tawakkul ala Allah is the real mean. We have our means when we do things. But let's carry on for other examples. في الشورى, when you're consulting with your friends or people in power, consulting with each other to make a decision that is important. Obviously, if you're consulting, it's an important decision. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Consult them, take their input, make partnership with them in making the decision. But if you decide, tawakkal ala Allah, proceed. Don't look back then. Don't look back and don't hesitate. But tawakkal ala Allah, leave it on His hands. Trust it in His hands. Rely upon only Him, only Him. Don't ask others. Don't have your heart hanging with others. Do not do the wrong thing. Don't hang your hopes. Don't hang your plans on the hands of others that may have means, no matter how powerful they are. Does that mean we cannot seek help from those in power? Does that mean we cannot plan and utilize and have the means? No, I didn't say that. It's where your heart is really with Allah, not among that person. You're sick and that doctor is the only one that will save me. My heart's on, my hopes are on him. Wrong. You can go to that doctor that you think is good. You can do your search looking for the right doctor, engineer, consultant, lawyer, whatever it is, whatever firm you have, whatever plan you have. But your hope and your heart is depending on Allah for the success. Not the means, but do the means and take the means, inshallah. Look at one that is important for all of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet ﷺ gives us a beautiful hadith. لو أنكم توكلتم على الله حق توكله لرزقكم كما يرزق الطير تغدو خماصا وتروح بطانا. If you really make full tawakkul ala Allah, He will provide you, fully provide you with your providence, with your distant providence, as He does to the birds. They go out empty stomach and they come back with full stomach. There is no means there. When the bird is flying, it doesn't have assurance that it will find food, and it comes back satisfied with full stomach. There is a plan for each bird. There is a plan for each one of us. We may not know it. I hope we do know it. And I hope we understand it. And I hope we understand that we need to work and do the best and the most we can. But at the end of the day, your providence is from Allah, is upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah wants us to do that, to rely upon Him. And He wanted His Prophet to do that. Look, Allah is telling His Prophet, فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّكَ عَلَى الْحَقِّ الْمُبِينِ. Another ayah, فَاعْبُدْهُ وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَيْهِ. Two things, worship Him and rely upon Him. Tawakkal ala Allah. Brothers and sisters, are we missing this? Do we forget sometimes? Do we hang our hearts on the means as we live on? Subhanallah, it's important. وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. Whoever relies upon Allah, only make tawakkul ala Allah and not anybody else. If you're in a difficult situation, you're worried about losing or being humiliated, you're losing about being insignificant, beaten, losing, whatever, you're worried. Well, look at this ayah. وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. Look at the description of the almighty names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He mentioned Al-Aziz, because Al-Aziz, if you're relying upon him, if you're connected to him, he will not let you down. So if you are in a difficulty, do not let that out of your sight. And I'm talking this to myself and everyone, inshallah. So how do we achieve that? Tawakkul. How do we bring all the components in every action we do to only make tawakkul, only make Allah who we rely upon, trust the issues with, fully trust in him and on him only that things will happen, and be happy with whatever he does afterwards. How we keep that heart status takes struggle. And that struggle is challenging. And that challenge is something we're ordered to keep and try to do. Subhanallah. The difficulties when it happens to you. Look at Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and the Sahaba. الذين قال لهم الناس إن الناس قد جمعوا لكم فاخشوهم. They were warned, people are gathering upon you, fear them. This is the meanings of the ayat. What did they do? They are stressed, they're going to be attacked. What shall we do? فزادهم إيمانا وقالوا حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. Allah is enough for us, and on him we rely. He is our wakil. فانقلبوا بنعمة من الله وفضل لم يمسسهم سوء. The fear turned into assurance and they were safe. Not only that it assured them and made them stronger, not only that it reminded them and strengthened their iman, but it saved them. So it's also a solution to the difficulty, as good as it is bringing to the rizq, according to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ and at-tayr. So how can we achieve that status? Even husn al-tawakkul, we cannot achieve it without support and the help of Allah and trying and struggling with yourself. Because the means, we fall for it many times. We fall for thinking of the means so much. Your knowledge, your skills. You're in sports, you're about to start a game. Tawakkal ala Allah. As long as it's halal and mashru', inshallah, and we hope all our actions are, and we avoid the sins as much as we can. But don't trust in your skills or power or knowledge or beauty or fame or wealth or position or support. These are the means, and the means are limited. And if your heart hangs on the means, and my heart, we lose and we weakens. Subhanallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us remember to make tawakkul alayhi subhanahu wa ta'ala and keep him in our eyes in every action we do. I say that and astaghfirullah li wa lakum fastaghfiruh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Brothers and sisters, again, if it is about tawakkul ala Allah and relying upon Him from choice to actions to everything we do, even in worship and in lively issues. He supports us and helps us. It actually helps us avoid doing the wrong things. Because once you remember tawakkul, who would continue in something wrong or a sin if he remembers tawakkul ala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. رب المشرق والمغرب لا إله إلا هو فاتخذه وكيلا. But the difficult part with achieving this tawakkul is the hard part and how we work on it. To reach the status of good tawakkul ala Allah, we need to have the knowledge. The knowledge of Tawheed as tawakkul, to only rely on Him in every action you do. You have to really understand what it means, La ilaha illallah. He is the only one we worship. And you need to know the attributes and the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you can condition those, because any action you do, you would be hoping for His almighty attributes. And the action of the heart after the knowledge of the heart, by trying to keep the trust and the reliance and the submission and the satisfaction and husn al-dhan, the trusting in the good results from Allah, even if it is not your expectations, it is what Allah wants for you, then you're pleased with it, because that's what Allah wants. Even if it's difficult, even if it's not what you're looking for, trust it in the hands of Allah. And one of the most difficult things is how to avoid the conflict with the means when you're making trust and tawakkul. How do we avoid that? I need to make a project. I have to prepare the proper steps for the project. I have to do a business plan, do the right steps, get the right knowledge, get the experts, go learn what I need to learn, hire the right people. These are all means. These are all means, and they are necessary. And don't take tawakkul as that you're leaving the means. No, the means are mandatory, and we're asked to do it. We're asked to keep it, subhanallah. And the order is there. وَأَن لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. We need to work. لَا يُغَيِّرُ اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah will not change things unless you do your part. So we're mandated to work. But don't fall for the means. And that is not an easy one. You don't leave it, and providence, your rizq, is prescribed. Then shall I take that I don't work for my rizq? I'm going to get it anyway? Trust it. Allah promises that. وفي السماء رزقكم وما توعدون فورب السماء والأرض إنه لحق مثل ما أنكم تنطقون. Your providence is coming. It's pre-written for you. And I should make tawakkul. Shall I just relax and not work? No. You do the sa'i. And you don't, there's a difference between tawakkul. You don't leave the means. You do the means, otherwise it's ajz. And the Prophet ﷺ يستعيذ بالله من العجز. But in the meantime, don't go and have your heart hanging with the means. Don't go preparing so much that you're so trusty and think you have achieved what you need to achieve and focus on that. Or go seek someone with power and someone with knowledge, knowing that they are the savior. This guy, I can't work in my company without him in the company. If he leaves, the company will fall. Or this consultant or this doctor or this lawyer or this weapon that I have for war if you're in a country. Once you start trusting in the means and forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, actually Allah can punish you. And the higher your status of wara, of being closer to Allah, and the highest are the prophets, Allah will take them upon just small hanging with the means. Does that mean we shall not hope for having the means? No, it is mashru'. But the tawakkul, your heart, should be on Allah. So some of the examples is very clear. ويوم حنين إذ أعجبتكم كثرتكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after compared to Badr, when the believers were 350 or something like that, with only one horse or two horses, compare it to about 10,000 or over 10,000 in the Ghazwat Hunayn. And some of the believers, some of the Sahaba said, oh, we will not lose out of numbers today. And Allah, here, you took, that's exactly hanging with the means. No, never trust on the means, because Allah will show you that you were wrong there. Don't push it there. Let's remember the orders and put things in the right order. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all see that and feel it and keep it in our eyes. Brothers, it is, inshallah, doable. We need just keep remembering to make full tawakkul and don't let ourselves hang with the means, because this material life, especially in this country, can take you there. And if you want to be successful in dunya and your work acceptable in akhirah, let us stick with that and make full tawakkul ala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Saying that, brothers, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us know how to support our brothers and sisters in Palestine and help, inshallah, rebuild Gaza after what happened. What can we do and what shall we do? We ask him help subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot forget as we move on that our priorities should be right. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَهْتَمِّ بِأَمْرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ فَلَيْسَ مِنْهُمْ. We cannot forget it to be our main hum. Things are repeated, and sometimes we get numb and we carry on with our lives and we forget that part of our ummah. Remember, our goal is not this life, and this is our test, just like it is their test. Ramadan is coming. We have great days and nights coming upon us, inshallah. Let us all prepare. Think of your brothers and sisters in Gaza. Help as much as you can. Help by support, financial, political, whatever you can do. Help with the prayer. The prayer is amal and is a very powerful means. So let's tawakkal ala Allah of figuring out how to help them and how to help each of ourselves, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the guidance to rely upon him and to use him appropriately as it should happen, inshallah. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. أقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استقيموا سدوا الخلل. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يسألونك عن الأنفال قل الأنفال لله والرسول فاتقوا الله واصلحوا ذات بينكم وأطيعوا الله ورسوله إن كنتم مؤمنين. إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون. الذين يقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون أولئك هم المؤمنون حقا لهم درجات عند ربهم ومغفرة ورزق كريم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إن المتقين في جنات وعيون آخذين ما آتاهم ربهم إنهم كانوا قبل ذلك محسنين كانوا قليلا من الليل ما يهجعون وبالأسحار هم يستغفرون وفي أموالهم حق للسائل والمحروم وفي الأرض آيات للموقنين وفي أنفسكم أفلا تبصرون وفي السماء رزقكم وما توعدون فورب السماء والأرض إنه لحق مثل ما أنكم تنطقون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Several announcements with Ramadan coming upon us. A reminder, first of all, that Fajr tomorrow is going to change to 7:15. Excuse me, 6:15. 6:15, that'd be nice. 6:15, inshallah, dhikr session is going to be after Maghrib at 7 o'clock. And then there's the 8:30 Arabic session, will also be online. A reminder, we have outside some flyers, the message of submission. This is a great program by Brother Bara, put together with a lot of volunteers and help. It's a great opportunity for if you have new Muslims, prospective Muslims, or people just interested about Islam, they could attend this. It's March 3rd, Sunday. It's going to be here at the FIC library. So please, there's some flyers outside for more information. If you have any clients or any patients or any colleagues, it would be a great opportunity, especially with Ramadan. A lot of questions come up. Other announcements, we have, of course, the Ihsan program that is going on throughout Ramadan. There's ages 3rd grade and above for the Quran memorization, Saturdays and Sundays, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, March 16th to the 31st, so throughout Ramadan. And then tafsir is going to follow that at 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock for high school and above. Same days, Saturdays and Sundays, inshallah. Non-FIC members is lower cost. If you're FIC member, FIC member is lower cost than non-FIC members. So more information is also available outside. We also have a Ramadan bazaar welcome event March 9th here at the masjid. We're going to have multiple food and clothing and other vendors. We're going to have a small program, a lot of good time to get the spirit of Ramadan, crafts and stuff for kids, and everything for all ages. So we'll have food truck, we'll have vendors, we'll have clothing and everything that you could want or need for Ramadan. It's March 9th at 3 o'clock, which is Saturday. Next Saturday, not tomorrow, but next Saturday, 9 o'clock, the 9th at 3 o'clock here at the Flint Islamic Center. So please come with your families. It'll be a great event. And then that night, inshallah, will be the first night of Taraweeh. So that's all for the announcements. And Jazakumullah khairan.